Daniel Cale stood by the observation window, staring at the gray, empty surface of the moon. From here, space looked endless and cold. The earth hung far away, a bright blue marble floating in darkness. Somewhere down there, his sister Myra was, living her life without him. God, it had been 5 years since she left the moon base for Earth. They had grown up together here in Artemis Haven, sharing the same narrow halls, the same recycled air, the same dreams of seeing the oceans and forests they had only read about. But when her scholarship came, Mira took it, and Daniel stayed behind, fixing broken systems, walking the same corridors every day. They talked at first. Video calls once a week, messages every few days. But slowly, the calls became shorter. The messages became fewer. Now, months had passed without a word. Daniel told himself she was busy. But deep down, he feared she had moved on without him. Life on Artemis Haven was quiet, but not peaceful. The colony was small, barely a few hundred people, and everyone had a job that mattered. Daniel's work was maintenance, fixing oxygen filters, patching cracks in pressure seals, keeping the lights on in the hydroponics farm. Without him, plants would wither, air would thin, and life here would become even harder. The moon was a wasteland. Outside the dome, there was no air, no sound, no life. Inside, people tried to pretend it was a home. But Daniel always felt like something was missing, like they were living inside a shell, waiting for something real. He thought of Mira often. When they were kids, she used to drag him to the observation deck and tell him, "One day we'll see Earth together. And when we do, it won't just be in pictures." He smiled at the memory, but it faded quickly. She had seen it without him. One morning, Daniel was called to fix a power conduit near the crater wall. It was a routine job, but he didn't mind. Working near the edge meant he could step outside in a pressure suit and see the surface without. A thick glass of the dome between them dot as he walked along the crater's rim. His suit's combs crackled with static, an old problem, nothing unusual. He crouched by the conduit, opened the panel, and began replacing a burnt-out circuit. That's when his handheld scanner gave a strange reading. Daniel frowned. The moon's geology was well mapped, rock, dust, and more rock. But the scanner was picking up something else, a sphere of metal buried far below. Not just any metal, an alloy his scanner didn't recognize. For a moment, Daniel forgot about Myra, forgot about the loneliness. His heart beat faster. On the moon, finding something unknown was rare. This could be just a glitch, but what if it wasn't? That night, he tried to sleep, but the reading haunted him. He thought of telling his supervisor, but the command. Staff rarely cared about small anomalies. They would log it, run a basic scan, and move on. Daniel didn't want to move on. He remembered something Mira had told him once. After a long night of stargazing, the universe is too big for you is to just survive. We have to explore. That's what makes us human. It had been years since he thought of those words, but they lit a spark in him now. The next day, he requested another maintenance shift near the crater wall. It wasn't hard, no one else liked the long walk in a suit. He brought a small drilling unit with him, claiming he needed to test soil stability. As he worked, he thought about Mira again. Maybe this discovery, whatever it was, could be his way of reconnecting with her. If it was something important, something big, she would want to know. She always loved mysteries. The drill whirred softly in the vacuum. Dust floated in low, gravity scattering like silver powder. A few meters down, the drill bit hit something solid. The vibration traveled through the handle into Daniel's gloves. Metal, smooth, cold, and impossibly perfect. He brushed away more dust and exposed a flat, seamless wall. It looked untouched by time, No scratches, no corrosion. His gloved fingers traced the surface dot suddenly. A faint blue light pulsed beneath his hand. The wall shivered, and a narrow seam appeared, widening silently into a doorway. Daniel froze. His breath echoed in the helmet. The opening revealed a corridor, softly glowing, with air swirling inside. His suit sensors showed something impossible. The air was breathable. He didn't step inside. Not yet. He knew crossing that threshold would change everything for him, for the moon base, maybe for humanity. He thought of Mira again, imagined telling her about this. Her eyes would widen, her voice would carry that same spark of wonder she always had. For the first time in years, Daniel felt not just the weight of loneliness, but the pull of hope. That night, back in his quarters, he tried to record a message. To her, "Hey, Myra, it's been a while. I found something today. Something strange. I can't tell you everything yet, but I think it might be important. Remember when you said we have to explore? I think I finally understand what you meant. I wish you were here." He saved the message, but didn't send it. Not yet. He wanted proof. He wanted to be sure in the days that followed, Daniel couldn't focus on anything else. His duties felt mechanical. His mind kept drifting to the door in the crater wall. He wondered what was beyond the glowing corridor. Who had built it? How? Long had it been there? He didn't have answers, but he had something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. And so, in a quiet moment after his shift, Daniel returned to the crater, standing before the open doorway. He looked out at the empty wasteland behind him, then into the strange light ahead. He took a deep breath. If this was dangerous, he might never come back. If it was safe, it might change everything. Either way, he knew one thing: he couldn't stay in the wasteland forever. He stepped forward. From Wasteland to Eden, the hidden truth beneath humanity's moon base. His story was only just beginning. Daniel stood inside the strange corridor, his boots sinking slightly into the smooth, rubbery floor. The walls glowed faintly blue, casting soft light on his suit. The air smelled different from anything he had known. Fresh, rich, like the oxygen gardens back in Artemis Haven, but far stronger. His heart pounded. It wasn't fear, not exactly. It was the feeling of standing somewhere no human had stood before. He thought of Myra. She would have loved this. She had always been the braver one, the one who had run ahead when they explored the empty mining tunnels as kids. Daniel had been the one to follow, holding the light, making sure they could find their way back. Now he was here, alone, holding the light for no one. Daniel walked slowly, his helmet lights sweeping over the walls. They were covered in delicate patterns, like carvings, but moving. The designs shifted in slow waves, as if the corridor itself was alive. His suit's recorder captured everything. The passage curved downward, and soon he came to a chamber with a high ceiling. In the center stood a tall pillar of crystal, glowing from within. His scanner beeped wildly, showing readings far beyond human technology. He placed a hand on the crystal. The glow pulsed brighter. For a moment, he thought he heard something. A faint musical hum, almost like a voice. But it was gone in an instant. Back in Artemis Haven, Daniel spent the next day trying to act normal. He filed his usual maintenance reports, repaired a broken airlock sensor, and joined a quick lunch with other technicians. But his mind was far away, in the glowing corridor, in the strange chamber. And with Myra. He sat at his console that evening, opening their old message history. The last time she had written, she'd sent a picture of herself, standing near an ocean at sunset. She'd said, "One day I'll bring you here." That was almost a year ago. Daniel started typing. "Mira, I think I found something. Something big. You would want to see it? I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I miss when we used to. He stopped. Would she even read it? Would she reply? Later that night, a soft alarm woke him. A malfunction in the power grid near the crater wall. It wasn't dangerous yet, but if left unchecked, it could cut power to the hydroponics farm. Daniel suited up and headed out. Walking under the black sky, he saw the spot where the hidden door lay. His breath caught. The door was open. No, it wasn't just open. The corridor's blue light spilled out onto the gray dust. Daniel hurried inside, forgetting the power fault for a moment. The crystal pillar in the chamber was glowing more brightly than before. This time, the hum was louder, clearer, and strangely warm, like a welcome. He realized something. The power fault might not be an accident. The readings from the crystal matched the exact location of the energy spike the scanner had detected earlier. Daniel's human instincts kicked in to understand, to connect, to solve. This was what humans did best, turn unknowns into knowledge. He carefully traced the energy path with his scanner. The readings led deeper into the chamber, toward a narrow tunnel at the far wall. He stepped inside, his suit brushing against smooth, warm surfaces. The tunnel opened into a vast underground space. Daniel froze. Before him stretched a green valley on the moon. Trees with leaves like silver feathers swayed in a soft breeze. Streams of crystal clear water ran over smooth stones. Birds, or something like birds, darted between branches, their wings catching the light. It was impossible. And it was beautiful. Daniel took a step forward, his boots sinking into soft grass. He removed his helmet slowly, his breath catching as fresh air filled his lungs. It was richer than Earth's air, warmer somehow, almost like it carried life itself. He thought of Mira again. She had always wanted to see something new, something untouched. He imagined her laughing in this place, running ahead like she. Daniel returned to the green valley the next day, walking slowly across its strange grass. The air was warm, the streams sang softly, and the light above shimmered as if it came from a gentle sun hidden in the ceiling. It was still hard for him to believe this was beneath the moon's dead surface, but something new caught his attention. A figure stood among the silver-leafed trees, tall and slender, its body shimmering like crystal. Daniel froze, unsure if it was alive or just a trick of the light. Then it moved, slowly, gracefully, like water flowing upright. The being's form was clear and faceted, catching the light in rainbow flashes. Where its face should have been was a smooth, glowing surface, shifting in color. Daniel's instinct was to step back, but something kept him still. The being tilted its head, as if studying him. Then, from somewhere deep inside it, came a sound. A soft, harmonious tone, like music played on glass. Daniel didn't understand the words, if they were words at all. He touched the recorder on his wrist. "I don't know if you can understand me," he said slowly, "but I'm not here to hurt you." The being's glow shifted, pulsing faintly. Then it turned and walked deeper into the valley. After a few steps, it stopped and looked back, as if inviting him to follow. Daniel hesitated. He thought of Mira, of the time she had gone ahead, waiting for him to gather courage. If she were here, she'd already be following this being. Without question. Maybe. That was why he stepped forward. They walked together through the valley until they reached a large clearing. In the center stood a cluster of crystal pillars, taller than any building in Artemis Haven. Between them, other crystalline beings moved with slow purpose, tending to plants, streams, and glowing pools. It was a city, or something like one. Hidden beneath the moon, the first being led Daniel to the largest pillar. A soft hum filled the air, and the pillar's glow shifted, forming shapes and patterns he couldn't understand. Then, a voice, clear, calm, and speaking in his own language, came from all around him. You are not the first of your kind to walk here. But you are the first to stay. Daniel's breath caught. You speak English? We speak many languages. We listen. The being's tone was neither hostile nor friendly, just curious. Daniel swallowed. Why is this place here? How is it alive? The voice responded after a pause. It was made long before your species looked to the stars. We have been its caretakers. The surface world is harsh. Here, life can grow. Daniel looked around at the other beings. Why? Haven't you told us? Humanity's been here for decades. The being's glow dimmed slightly. Your kind takes before it understands. The machines you place on the surface disturb the balance here. But you are different. You came alone. You looked before you touched. Daniel felt a strange mix of pride and guilt. I didn't come here to take. I just wanted to know what was out here. The voice hummed softly. Curiosity is the first step to harmony. But you are not here only for that. You carry a weight, a distance. Daniel's chest tightened. You mean Myra? The one far away, the one you wish to speak to, but cannot. He didn't know how they knew, but something about their calm tone made it easier to speak. She's my sister. We grew up here, but she left for Earth. We used to talk, but not anymore. I don't know how to reach her now. The being stepped closer, its glow warming. When your kind loses connection, it feels as if a part of the self is missing. But bonds can be renewed. You are here because you still hope. Daniel felt his throat tighten. I do. I just don't know how. Show her what you have seen. Show her that you still carry the dreams you shared. Truth, shared with trust, can cross great distances. Those words stayed with Daniel as he walked back toward the hidden door. He knew now that this wasn't just about discovery. It was about what humanity could be. If these beings could survive here for thousands of years, keeping life alive under a wasteland, then maybe people could learn to protect instead of consume. And maybe he could show that to Mira, not in words, but in proof. Back in Artemis Haven, Daniel began planning. He would need more recordings, more data, more undeniable evidence. If he could present it right, Mira would see it, not just as a strange place on the moon, but as something worth caring about, something that showed humanity's potential. That night, he finally opened her message window again. His hands shook as he typed. Myra, I've found something. Not just a place, a whole world under the moon. I can't explain it yet, but it's alive. And the people here, they're not like us, but they're watching us. I think they see something in us worth trusting. I want to show you. I think you'd understand why it matters. He didn't send it yet, but for the first time, he knew he would. Daniel looked out at the wasteland through the observation window. The moon's surface was still the same. Gray dust, empty craters, and endless black sky. But now, he knew what lay beneath. And he knew that even across the distance between him and Myra, there was a way to bridge the gap. Humans were not just survivors. They were explorers, connectors, builders of meaning. And if he could share that truth with her, maybe they could find their way back. Not just as siblings, but as dreamers chasing the same horizon. From Wasteland to Eden, the hidden truth beneath humanity's moon base. And maybe the hidden truth between them. Daniel stood at the edge of the valley again, staring at the green stretching before him. Every time he came back, he felt the same strange mix of wonder and disbelief. This place was alive, a hidden Eden under the moon's dead surface, and yet almost no one knew it existed. The crystalline beings moved gracefully among the silver-leafed trees, tending to plants and pools of water. They never seemed in a hurry, but everything they did felt deliberate. as if each motion had purpose. Daniel felt like an intruder here, but he also felt like he belonged in a way he hadn't felt in years. Still, something was missing, even as he studied the streams, the glowing plants, and the gentle hum that filled the air. Part of his mind was somewhere else, on Earth, with Myra. She would have loved this. She would have run ahead to see every detail, asked 1,000 questions, and tried to touch everything. Daniel could almost hear her voice echoing in the valley, though it was only in his memory. It hurt to think that she might never see it, that she might never even want to. The first crystalline being he had met, the one who had led him here, appeared beside him. It gave off a warm, soft light. "You look far away," it said in its calm, echoing voice. Daniel gave a small smile. "I'm here, but I keep thinking about someone I care about. She's far away. We used to be close, but now I don't know if we are anymore." The being tilted its head slightly. "You wish her to see this place?" "Yes," Daniel admitted. "But I don't know if she'd even care now. I don't know if we're still connected." The being was quiet for a long moment. Then it said, "When we lose connection, we often believe the distance is unchangeable. But distance is only space. The bond is what you carry inside." Daniel thought about that. He carried his memories of Mira everywhere, their talks, their shared dreams, their laughter. Even now, they shaped the way he saw this hidden Eden. But memories weren't enough. He needed to reach her somehow. Over the next few days, Daniel visited the valley often, recording every detail with his helmet camera. He took readings of the water, the air, the plants. He scanned the crystalline being's structures, though he made sure to ask before approaching anything they worked on. They didn't stop him. In fact, they seemed to understand what he was doing. One even placed a glowing flower in his hands. Its petals shimmered like starlight. "This is beautiful," Daniel whispered. "Beauty speaks without words," the being replied. "Perhaps it can speak to her." Daniel turned the flower in his hands. It was delicate, fragile, and yet it had grown in a place no human thought life could exist. If this didn't make Myra curious, nothing would. That evening in his quarters, Daniel placed the flower under a stasis dome to keep it alive. He replayed his footage, the sweeping view of the valley, the streams, the light filtering through silver leaves. He added the readings and his own spoken notes. When the video was complete, he sat at his console, staring at the blinking cursor in the message box. "Mira, I know it's been a long time. I don't know if you'll even watch this, but I found something. It's here on the moon, under the surface. Life, a whole valley. And it's not just life. There are people here, not human, but alive in ways I can't explain. They've trusted me. I want to share this with you, not just because it's important, but because I miss the way we used to share things. I miss you." He hesitated, then attached the video and the image of the glowing flower. His finger hovered over the send button. He thought of the being's words. "Beauty speaks without words." Daniel pressed send. The next day he returned to the valley. The first being met him at the entrance. "You have sent her your truth," it said. "Yes," Daniel replied. "Now I just have to wait. Waiting is part of trust." Daniel nodded, but inside, the waiting was hard. 3 days passed. No reply. Daniel tried to keep busy, fixing water pumps, recalibrating air filters, checking solar panel output. But every time his console pinged with a message alert, his heart jumped. On the 4th day, as he stood in the valley's soft light, his comm unit beeped. He opened the message. It was from Mira. "Danny, I don't know what to say. I watched the video 3 times. At first, I thought it was a trick, but I know you." Daniel could hardly sleep after Myra's message. He kept reading it over and over, feeling a mix of relief and fear. She wanted to come back, but coming to the moon wasn't easy. It took time, planning, and official approval. And even if she made it here, it was the matter of the beings in the valley. They had trusted him so far. But would they trust her? Would they trust humanity at all? For the next few days, Daniel worked harder than ever. He kept visiting the valley, learning more about its ecosystem. The crystalline beings, he now knew there were at least a dozen. Of them seemed to communicate in both tones and light pulses. When they worked together, their hums merged into a chorus that resonated through the valley like music. One afternoon, the first being he had met stood beside him at the glowing stream. The one you called has begun her journey, it said. Daniel blinked. You mean Myra? How do you know? We listen in ways you cannot. Daniel felt his chest tighten. She's really coming. She will walk here. But before that, we must see if your kind understands what this place means. The next days passed in a blur. Daniel kept busy, repairing systems and preparing a quiet welcome for Myra in his small quarters. But his thoughts kept returning to the being's words. We must see if your kind understands. On the day Myra was due to arrive, Daniel was called to the valley. The crystalline beings gathered in a wide circle near the central pillars. Daniel. Kale, the first being spoke. Your kind has walked above us for many years. You have seen the Wasteland. You have seen the Eden beneath. We ask, what will humanity do if we open this place to you? Daniel took a deep breath. We'll learn from it, protect it. Many have spoken those words before. The being interrupted. Your kind often takes, even when it says it will protect. Daniel's mind flashed to images of mining projects, overfished oceans, forests cut down for space. They weren't wrong, but he also thought of the things humanity had saved, species brought back from extinction, cities rebuilt after disasters, people working together across borders. We make mistakes, Daniel admitted, but we also learn. We have the ability to care, to change. I'm here because I want to understand before I act. I think others can do the same. Not everyone, but enough to make a difference. The beings were silent. Then the first one sighed, we will decide soon. When Daniel returned to Artemis Haven, the docking alert sounded. He hurried to the airlock just as the shuttle arrived. The inner door opened. And there she was, Myra, in a fresh lunar jumpsuit, her hair pulled back, but a wide, familiar smile on her face. Danny, she said softly. Myra. They hugged, and for a moment, neither of them said anything. The last year of silence seemed to dissolve in that single embrace. They walked together through the narrow corridors of the base. Myra glanced around, taking in the familiar smell of recycled air and the hum of machinery. It hasn't changed much, she said. Neither have you. Daniel replied, then quickly added, I mean that in a good way. She laughed, the sound echoing in the hallway. You're still bad at compliments. Later in Daniel's quarters, they sat with mugs of warm tea. So Myra said, tell me everything. That video. It didn't feel real, but I know it is, because you wouldn't lie to me. What is that place? Daniel leaned forward. It's alive, a whole ecosystem right under the moon's surface. And there are people there, Myra, not human, but alive, intelligent, and peaceful. They've been here longer than we've existed. Myra's eyes widened. And they trust you? They're still deciding, Daniel admitted. They want to know if humanity can be trusted. And I think you can help me prove it to them. The next day, Daniel brought Myra to the hidden door in the crater wall. Her breath caught as the blue light spilled out, bathing the gray dust in color. Inside, she walked slowly, touching the glowing walls, her eyes wide. This is incredible, she whispered. When they entered the valley, Myra stopped in her tracks. Danny, It's beautiful. Daniel smiled. I told you. The crystalline beings approached, their lights shifting in gentle patterns. The first one spoke. You are the one he called. Mira nodded. Yes, I'm his sister. You come from the world below the sky, the being continued. If we open this place, your kind will come. What will they do? Mira glanced at Daniel, then back at the being. Some will try to take. That's true, but others will fight to protect it. I think you've already seen which kind my brother is. He's not perfect, no human is, but he's here because he cares. And if you give us a chance, more people like him will come. The beings stood silent for a long time, their lights pulsing slowly. Then the first one said, We will watch. And if your kind proves worthy, this place will remain open. If not, it will close again. Daniel felt relief, though he knew it was only the first step. That night, Daniel and Mira sat together in the valley's soft light, watching the streams and silver trees. I'm glad you came, Daniel said quietly. Me too, Mira replied. I didn't realize how much I missed this, and you. Daniel smiled. Maybe we can keep the connection this time. Yeah, Mira said, and maybe this place can be the reason. The moon's surface was still the same wasteland, but for Daniel, it had become something else entirely. A bridge not just between species, but between him and the person he thought he'd lost. From Wasteland to Eden, the hidden truth beneath humanity's moon base, and maybe the hidden truth of family, hope, and what humanity could be. Daniel and Mira stood in the center of the crystal valley, sunlight like glow spilling over, silver-leafed trees and sparkling streams. The crystalline beings circled them, tall, shimmering, and silent. Their hums merged into a soft song that vibrated through the air and into Daniel's chest. The first being spoke. You have come. You have proven that connection can survive distance. But proof alone is not enough. You must show your kind is worthy of this Eden. Daniel swallowed. Worthy? How? You will face a choice, the being said. If your actions honor life, cooperation, and understanding, you may continue to share in this place. If you fail, the valley will close. Humanity will remain outside. Mira's hand found Daniel's. His fingers tightened around hers. In that simple touch, years of silence and distance melted away. What kind of choice? Daniel asked. You. We'll see, the being replied. It gestured toward the far end of the valley, where a narrow canyon split the land. The air shimmered above it. A danger approaches. You may guide it, protect it, or risk its harm. Your choice will show your hearts. Daniel glanced at Mira. She nodded once. They both understood. This wasn't just a test of skill. It was a test of humanity itself. Minutes later, a low rumble shook the valley. From the shimmering air above the canyon, a shadow fell. A massive, winged creature, unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. Its eyes glowed like molten silver, and it swooped down, stirring wind that rattled the crystal pillars. Daniel felt his stomach tighten. It's dangerous, he whispered. Mira squeezed his hand. Then we do what we came here to do, together. The creature landed near the streams, disturbing the delicate plants and scaring smaller life forms. Daniel thought fast. He could try to fight it, but the beings had never shown him weapons, and harming it might fail the test. Instead, he spoke. Aloud gently, his voice carrying over the wind. We're not here to hurt you. We want to help. Please, calm down. Mira stepped beside him, extending her hands toward the creature, showing openness and trust. We won't attack you, she said. We want to understand. For a moment, nothing happened. The creature's eyes flicked from Daniel to Mira, then to the streams and the glowing flora. Slowly, the creature lowered its wings. It stepped toward the water and drank, its enormous head casting long shadows. Daniel and Mira remained still, showing patience and care. They realized that the test wasn't about bravery in combat. It was about restraint, compassion, and respect, qualities humans often forgot, but could still show. After what felt like hours, the first crystalline being spoke again. You have chosen restraint. You have chosen understanding over force. You have honored life. You have proven that you may share in the Eden. Daniel exhaled, relief flooding him. Mira smiled, her eyes shining. They had done it together, as siblings, as humans, as explorers. The creature gave a low, rumbling sound, then spread its wings and flew up into the shimmering air. Daniel realized it was no longer a threat. It had tested them, just as the beings had. Once the creature vanished, the valley seemed to glow even brighter. The streams sparkled, and the silver leaves danced in the warm light. The other crystalline beings approached Daniel and Mira. Your kind has shown what words alone cannot convey, said the first being. You have courage, but also empathy. You have hope, but also wisdom. This is what makes your species capable of more than survival. It is what makes you worthy. Daniel felt a lump in his throat. All the years of distance from Mira, the loneliness, the fear of losing her connection, it had led to this moment. Mira reached out and took Daniel's hand again. We did it, she whispered. No, Daniel said. We did it, together. For a long moment, they stood there in silence, the valley alive around them. It wasn't just the beauty of the place that struck them. It was the feeling of being part of something greater than themselves. That evening, as the artificial sun in the ceiling dimmed into a soft twilight, the being spoke once more. You may return to your world above, but remember what you have learned here. You carry the Eden in your hearts.